What's up, guys? It's another episode of the Middle Ground podcast. And yes, it's the very first episode in 2024. This is our first recording in 2024. The last recording was the Armed Forces Remembrance Day special. And thank you to everybody. Don't forget to follow us on all socials. And subscribe to our YouTube channel. Subscribe to Royal Mind TV. That's the parent company for this content, which is Middle Ground Podcast. You can see in the background. And I have Dr. Majid Dahiru with me. Dr. Majid, how are you doing?
Thank you very much.
Happy New Year.
Yes, but we've seen this, but not on this set.
Not on this set. And by the way, do you like our set?
Oh, beautiful.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Yes.
Thank you very much, Dr. Majid. And thank you for everything. Thank you for everything you've been doing. And thank you for always coming when we call.
Well, thank you, too.
Thank you for always. Thank you.
Partnership.
Thank you for always answering me, particularly.
No, I see your passion for nation building, and so we have no choice but to key into that passion.
Okay, so, yeah, you go fear now. What's passion for nation building? As in, Dr. Majid, really, am I building nation here?
Of course, you are triggering a conversation around nation building from the fundamentals. So,
thank you.
Yes,
thank you.
You have fundamentals of nation building, and if you don't build a nation, such a nation cannot prosper. It can't have security and all of the things we desire. And so, it's important to have an agenda for nation building that media personalities like you, with your wide network of reach, can actually begin to set so that the people themselves, the Nigerian people, can begin to set this agenda for the political leadership as a step, very solid step towards national rebirth and rejuvenation. Because some of the issues that bedevils Nigeria today cannot be solved by just legislations and policies alone. You need to go back to the fundamentals. It's like you need to reset the fundamentals of the sovereign entity called Nigeria.
Understanding why are we here?
Why are we here?
What are we even doing?
And why are we not there?
Why are we not there?
And so these conversations will spur a new critical thinking in the public space that can help shape our democracy, consolidate it around the ethos of nation building for the purpose of national prosperity and national security.
So let's talk about the basics of these conversations that we can use to start, at least kickstart. You have to start from somewhere. And to start from somewhere, the best place to start is the beginning.
Yes.
And, you know, and by the way, before we go ahead, let me give a background to the people listening. And it's a more important reason why you should subscribe to our channel. This is a special. It's a Middle Ground Podcast special, and we are going to be focusing majorly on the historical background and how we got to where we are. I listen to a lot of people, and most times Gen Zs. Now, I would remember that, and I don't know when anybody's watching this, I will remember that towards, as we are immediately after the 2023 general elections, I heard, and it was in the news, that some people, most especially Gen Zs, went to the military headquarters and said they should take over. You know, this kind of, and I'm like, you people don't know where I'm coming from, where we are coming from. But I remember these people were not even born then. And Dr. Majid, it would interest you to know that there are people of your age bracket, my age bracket, that don't even understand how we got here. A lot of people are of the opinion that, look, the colonial masters just came in and just looked at some different people from different places and just say, how can we make money? The best way to make money as colonial masters is just gather Yoruba people, Hausa people and Yoruba people and just, you know, administer them and make money. Royal Niger, all this. So some white people just came together and just brought different people together for their own economical economical interests. But, with the help of people like you, you've shared different materials with me that have really opened my eyes. And big shout out to my people in Ondo State, my parents. My dad really did not live long enough to sit me down and say, this is what Nigeria is. And I can tell that a very large chunk of the percentage of people of my age, of your age, are also in these shoes. So the idea behind this 13 episode special, which with your help, we are still trying to come up with a name. I called it Nigerian Link, Niger Link. You said it's the link that bind Nigeria or the screw that link Nigeria. But whatever it is, we are just going to give it a name. Don't worry. The montage, you see the name. Now, is it true? Because, hey, in our schools, what we are taught till now, to the largest extent till now, is that, look, we are different people. And the colonial masters came and put us together. Now, is this true? Now, when I say is this true, let's start from the beginning. What was it? Is it true that we were different people? Yoruba, Hausa, Igbo. Is it true? We did not have anything to do with each other. We didn't interrelate. We didn't intertrade. We didn't fight wars. We didn't argue. We didn't have issues. We didn't intermarry. What was it like? I need you to, from the most basic, from your perspective, what was it like? And I'm not going to say we should start from somewhere. Let you say it, to the best of your knowledge. And by the way, Dr. Dairu Majid is the team lead for Luke Stera. Sorry, please. Help me.
Leadership Foundation.
Luke Stera Leadership Foundation. Thank you. And I know I might not capture it totally, but Luke Stera Leadership Foundation is a faith-based institution that teaches leadership through integrity. Thank you. Those are the words. You teach leadership through integrity. And one of the things that you always hammer on is a good leader is not from one particular place. It can be from anywhere. A good leader is a good leader, and we should all strive to be good in our own small space. So you are an expert in judge of character. I'll put it that way. Am I wrong?
Well, I wouldn't say expert, but just to be modest. Let's just say we have some fundamental
understanding of what it is.
Some of these issues
now,
we're trying to discuss.
So, Dr. Majid, help me out here. Help us out here. All of us, Nigeria.
I think how
did we get here?
It has been a dilemma of some sort. Yes, like you rightly pointed out, the narrative has been entrenched that Nigeria's problems of insecurity, absence of welfare for citizens, and all of the myriad of problems we have faced in this country, leadership crisis and all, was as a result of colonialism, the colonial experiment of bringing different, very different people without anything in common, lumping them in a country called Nigeria for the benefit of the British colonial masters.
AKA Niger area.
Niger area. And that nobody was consulted when this was done. And so that has been the foundational problem that has stunted the growth and development of Nigeria 63 years after independence. And most people believe that you need to restructure Nigeria and probably align it with pre-existing ethnic nationalities so that they can take control of their resources and their destiny through what some people have described as self-determination and all sorts of other narratives. And so sometimes we tend to blame our current situation on our past. But you asked a very fundamental question. Is it actually true that this is the situation? Is this the case? Well, it is important to take a journey back into time to interrogate this entrenched narrative that says that before 1914, that the constituent peoples of Nigeria, do not have anything in common until the British colonial authorities amalgamated the northern part of this country and the southern part into the modern Nigerian state. That claim is actually not true. In fact, contrary to that claim, the constituent peoples of Nigeria have interacted from time immemorial, from a time nobody can actually put a date on.
So which means we can start from any time.
Somebody can actually say at what point the interaction started. We've interacted within this space and beyond into neighboring countries like Niger, like Benin Republic, Cameroon, and Chad for as long as anybody can recall. So Nigerians, whether you are Yoruba, whether you identify as Igbo, Hausa, Efik, Ibibio, there has been interactions long before the British man came. And our oral history, as told to us by our forefathers, bear a testimony to this fact.
Okay. All right.
And our anthropological, sociological, and cultural patterns suggest a clear evidence of these long-standing interactions within the Nigerian space and even beyond before 1914.
So where should we start?
Now we need to interrogate this alternative narrative that we are trying to come up with now.
Okay.
How true is this narrative that we have interacted for this long? I say this because and these are conditions that precede national development on a scale that can yield prosperity or what you call welfare and security. Before this can actually happen to any country or nation state, there has to be a sense of oneness among the constituent peoples on basis of common humanity. When you talk about very, very diverse, racially diverse entities, they rely on their common humanity to herald that sense of oneness amongst the constituent peoples. Now, if you are a country of largely homogeneous raciality, like as it is to Nigeria, that is predominantly a black African country, you now begin to look at that commonality of race and by extension, the common cultural heritage of the constituent peoples as a basis for evoking that sense of oneness.
So let's interrogate our cultural similarities.
Yes.
And I would say we would start from the most common that we can find. Language.
Yes.
What is the similarity that a Yoruba man would say he has in language with an Hausa man? Now that I'm saying it, it's coming to me that actually there are some things that are common among us. And when I say among us, I'm talking Yoruba man, Hausa man. Now we are still going to talk about Hausa man, Igbo man, Yoruba man, Igbo man. But let's look at it. Now, the one that can come to my head immediately is alubosa. Now, as very common and it's just there, but we don't pay attention to it. Yeah. Do you know that a Yoruba man calls onions alubosa? A Hausa man calls onions albasa.
Igbo man calls it yabas.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay. How? Why? I don't know.
Because, yes, while albasa as a food crop, vegetable food crop, appears to have originated from the Hausa-speaking part of the country, the fact that it has become incorporated into Yoruba lexicon, and of course Igbo, language, tells you of the long-standing interaction that has happened between these constituent peoples of Nigeria. And I will give you something that is even deeper than food crop, that is common. Something that is very fundamental.
Okay.
But interesting to know that what Yorubas call Orisha, which is
Osha. Yes, which is a deity.
Is what the Igbos actually call Olisa.
Oh.
Okay?
Oh, wait. Really?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Oh. Olisa.
And the Ibiras of North Central Nigeria also call what the Igbos call Olisa and what the Yorubas call Orisha, Oricha. I'm talking about traditional African religion. Even at that level of cosmology, there's a convergence.
Okay, so how? So is this a coincidence?
Because we are essentially a people of common cultural heritage. So I call it the Nigerian Cultural Commonwealth. It was also interesting to know that for those who are into African traditional religion of the Yoruba version, when they want to consult with the Orishas, they do through a medium called Ifa. And when the Igbos also want to consult the Olisa, they do it through a medium called Afa. And when the Iberians too, who also have Oricha as their deity, want to consult Oricha, they do it through a medium called Eva. And if you look at the methodology, if you look at the chants, if you look at the the incantations, you can actually mistake one for the other in form and appearance.
Okay. So Dr.
So something as fundamental as traditional beliefs, it cuts across the three original zones or regions in Nigeria, of the northern part of the country, the western region, and the eastern region. And you can actually extend this commonality across board.
Obviously, this is before Christianity and Islam and the other foreign religion.
If you're Yoruba, I'm sure you came into a culture that for as long as anybody can remember deifies Orishas. If you are born into the Igbo part, speaking part of the country, same thing Olisa has been long-standing. Ancestral heritage of traditional religion indicates that Olisa is supreme being.
Yes.
Same thing with the African people of North Central Nigeria, for example. So Oricha has always been known as the supreme deity. And so, as fundamental as this, you know what religion is to the existence of man. You can say commonality across the length and breadth of this country. In this just one example I've given.
Okay, so on the next episode of the series, we're going to be talking about, we'll go deeper into the different deities, the similar deities that we have across board, north, south, west, across everywhere, which further buttresses the fact that we have that common thing, common behavior, common lifestyle. But let's leave all that and let's go into, as you are talking, it's also something else was just telling me. I just realized that there are some three social gatherings that brings us together. Three. There could be more depending on where you're coming from. One is marriage.
Yes.
One is chieftaincy title. And the other one is death. Burial. And let's start from marriage. Okay, so in case you're watching this and you don't pay bride price to marry in your place, please drop a comment. However, we all pay bride price, don't we?
Yes, in one form or the other.
In one form
or the other.
Or the other.
But the practice of paying bride price is that commonality. Is that commonality. So you need to begin to appreciate the common ties that binds. Even among children of the same parents, they may not do the same thing exactly the same way. That does not mean that they are not children of the same loin. And so you see slight variations in how marriage is conducted in one community, from one community to another, that does not represent fundamental difference. That does not make you different fundamentally from the other person. It's simply a variation that comes with human innovation in line with their geography of existence and interactions with some other kind of people. So if you observe closely, the way you and I speak English language with imported slang, for example, it's not the same way our parents spoke the same English language.
As a matter of fact, when you listen to a Ghanaian man speak English, it's English, but just immediately he just slams his lips together and goes, Chale. You would see that,
but that does not invalidate
his English. He's communicating using English language.
So for those of us that speak English in West Africa, we call ourselves Anglophone. West African countries. Anglophone. Doesn't matter the variation in dialect or pronunciation, doesn't matter. Fundamentally, we speak English. So as Nigerians or Africans by extension, we must begin to pay attention to those little details that we overlooked over time that suggests that we are essentially one people. Why this is important is for you to have social cohesion enough to yield national unity, which are conditions preceding national development anywhere in the world. Any country you've seen in the world today that has attained an appreciable level of welfare and security for citizens, such a country has achieved first social cohesion and national unity by subsuming existing identities with the national identity around the common citizenship. But to achieve that, you need the constituent peoples themselves to have a sense of oneness.
Okay, so sorry, you would continue. Sorry to cut you. So, you know, somebody watching this will say, and a Yoruba man from Ondo State, look, watching what we are talking about, is wondering, what's my affiliation with an Igbo man?
Okay, I'll tell you straight up.
Okay, go ahead.
Let's not waste this time. Let me go.
No time to check time.
Let me go to your history of the Yorubas, those that identify today as Yorubas. You have a godlike figure called Oduduwa.
True.
Now, Oduduwa's origin is still in dispute and contention. Some people have attributed Oduduwa's origin to Middle East.
Yes, Mecca. Yes.
The Lamurudu story, one version. Another version says, okay, no, he's divine.
He came down, God sent him down from heaven to come and save Yoruba people.
Okay, there's another version. Then there's another version that is very contentious and controversial. That says, okay, no, he's a prince of Benin. Okay? The Benin people claim that Yoruba say no.
So
the Oromio story, this one, the Weka, fine. That's another version. There's even a fourth version that most people don't even know. There's a version of the origin of Oduduwa being from a place called Ife.
Yes.
Omala local government of Kogi State, in the Igala speaking area of Kogi State.
Oh, no. This one bust my head. Wait first. Dr. Majid.
Yes.
Oduduwa. There's a version of the story of Oduduwa that says he's from Ife.
There's a place called Ife.
Till now.
In fact, it has the most prominent, most people don't know this, one of the most prominent, one of the most senior traditional rulers in the Igala land. It's actually the Ojogba of Ife, the first class traditional ruler in Kogi State. He's so revered that, according to some historical analysis or narratives, he's senior to the Ata of Igala, who himself has origins in Juku. That's another story entirely. And so, the story goes that, yes, truly, Oduduwa was a prince of Benin who sojourned in Igala land for a while, in that place called Ife, before he moved to the current Ife. And the reason why he is called Oduduwa by the people he met in Ife. Common greeting in Igala, for example, is Olodudu, which is good morning.
Yeah, that's true, yes, I know.
And the direct response to that greeting is Oduduwa.
Okay, so
it is believed that, okay, because this man spoke this language, when he got to that part of the country, and normally when people greet him, and his own way of responding was Oduduwa. So it became Oduduwa became his name. Now, let us not have arguments over which of the versions are. Which of the version is correct. What is important here is that these three versions of the Yoruba origin of Oduduwa,
He came from heaven, he came from...
the Benin version, particularly, and the Igala version, shows a link or a tie between these three major ethnic groups in Nigeria. First and foremost.
Who would ever know?
You see, ordinarily you see people argue over, no, it's not from Benin, no, it's from Ife. No, it's not from Ife, no, it's from Igala land. No, that's not the issue. What you should take away from this narrative, because nobody was really there to bear witness, is that the Igala, the Yoruba, and the Benin have something in common in Oduduwa. That is the oneness I'm talking about. And you asked me how
a Yoruba man
is related to an Igbo man,
and is related to an Igbo man.
I will not come to that answer. The answer is contained, though, not by me. It's not contained in my own write-up or statement, but by the Obi of Onitsha, current sitting Obi of Onitsha.
Okay.
His Royal Majesty, Igwe Alfred Nnameka Achebe. He granted an interview once and actually narrated the origin of Onitsha people of Igbo-speaking Southeast Nigeria. And he traced their origin from Ife through Benin to the current location.
Okay, so...
And in standard Onitsha history, along with other sub-Igbo groups you call Western Igbo, those, that is the Asaba people, or the Anoma people, the Ika people, similarly trace their origins from Benin Empire. And if you look at the relation between Benin and Yoruba, whether Oduduwa was from Benin or is from Ife, wherever he came from, one thing is certain, the Benins and the Yorubas are brothers. So if an Igbo group descends from either of these brothers, it links one to the other. That is the link between Yorubas and the Igbos through the people of Onitsha. And they didn't just stop in Onitsha. A lot of communities along the river banks of the Niger, down to Ikwere, are Igbo-speaking groups that trace their origins to Benin. And if you look at their material culture, it is very similar to what obtains in other parts of the country. And when they fused with the other Igbo-speaking population, who, by the way, also have origins from places outside Igbo land. I'll give you a typical example. If you go to parts of northern Enugu, the Nsukka area, they have their origins from Ida among the Igala-speaking people of the state. And today they are Igbo. And there are other Igala-speaking or Igala of origin communities all along Anambra State and in Onitsha. In fact, of the 9 indigenous communities that make up Onitsha, 7 are from Benin, 2 are from Ida. But today, they are fused with the dominant culture in this location, which is Igbo-speaking people, to now form what you now call an identity called Igbo. So, what this tells you is simple. If you consider the fact that the Igalas too have origins in Jukun, and there was southward migration from the Kwara-Rafa Confederacy.
Who's that?
Kwara-Rafa Confederacy is like a confederacy of ethnic nationalities that were domiciled in the upper Benue Valley around the northeast. And they share filial relationships with the Hausa, Fulani people of northern Nigeria.
Wow. So
they have a common ancestor. He was caught by Ajida, who was said to have 7 children that were known as the Hausa Bakwe, and 7 other children that are known as the Banza Bakwe. So the Kwara-Rafa Confederacy are largely made up of the so-called Banza Bakwe, but from one man. And so it was from that confederacy that the group of people migrated down to establish communities like the Idoma, the Igala, the Ibira, and the Igalas extended this southward migration to where you call Igbo land today, all through to Delta State. So you have indigenous Igala communities even in Delta. But it's interesting to know that a name like Osai, that is common among Delta people and Shuka people, is Igala version of Ochai.
Oh, wait. Oh, I used to have a colleague.
Yes.
I've worked with someone, not even one, more than one, whose name is Ochai.
there is what is known today as the long juju, or the oracle of Arochukwu. The oracle of Arochukwu is a very prominent deity in what was known as ancient Igbo land. And the original name is Ubinu Upabi, because it was a fusion of Efik Ibibio, Anang cosmology,